Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Matt and John Make a Podcast live stream reaction show. And tonight we're reacting to NXT Takeover Portland that went off the air about 10 minutes ago. And boy, what a show this was. I think we both can agree on that.
Yep, it surely didn't disappoint, and these shows typically never do disappoint. Definitely the ending of the show was pretty shocking, and we'll get into that shortly. But yeah, an incredible show that started off with the North American Championship, which, in my opinion, was probably the match of the night. Between Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic. Holy hell, these guys just put on a clinic here. Just the sheer athleticism of both of these guys is just insane. I wrote down here that these guys are work better than cruiserweights at times here. So I mean, Matt, there were so many spots here. Dijak doing a like corkscrew moonsault. On there, Dijak also doing a Death Valley driver, which that looked brutal. A pounce on the middle turnbuckle. And definitely the one spot that stands out the most, though, it definitely has to be that insane swanton from Dijak.
Outside the ring.
Outside of the ring, and that was such a dangerous move, because if Dijak is even slightly right or slightly left, he has a broken neck easily. So
he's crashing into the tables, announce tables, and it doesn't look good.
Yeah, and that crowd just went crazy for that. Just constant back and forth. There was a pretty cool reversal spot when Keith Lee and Dijak were both attempting with a choke slam there. That was pretty cool. Yeah, just really physical, really hard hitting. And anytime Keith Lee did his double chops, man, that crowd just erupted. Like, Keith Lee is he's a massive star right now. Like, I mean, I do wonder if they might do him versus Adam Cole now. I think that's definitely possible. He doesn't really have any other contenders right now, so I definitely think that's a possibility. But yeah. No complaints, and I said right after this, good luck following that match, because dear Lord, man, that was something. Yes. Matt, anything to add?
Yeah, that can you can argue that was match of the night, but we'll see later on. Cole and Gargano probably had something to say about that.
Absolutely.
But what a way to start this show. Just, you mentioned it, just the sheer athleticism and the ability of these two big behemoths of athletes to move like they're 205 and less.
And that's why guys like Keith and Dijak are incredibly over. It's just like their matches just stand out from everyone else on the show there. And speaking of standing out, this street fight between Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox.
It was a Pittsburgh coming out.
Right.
Tegan Knox.
Holy hell, this was brutal. And my first initial reaction when this thing was going on, I was like, AEW women, that's how you lay in your freaking offense. Like, this was like, just from like when Dakota Kai came out and attacked Tegan, like Dakota ate that freaking fence there, like face first.
That looked like it hurt.
That looked like it hurt. Like, these two just beat the crap out of each other, and it was a really good street fight. But what killed it for me was this stupid freaking finish, which honestly, Matt, it reminded me of when AEW debuted on Bed Bath and Beyond, and Beth was trying to when Excalibur was trying to make out, like everyone knows who these people were, and so apparently we're supposed to know who Reina Gonzalez is. I mean, and that is my only criticism for this match, was just I just felt that this was just a bad spot to have someone debut here, and man, like, she nearly killed Tegan with that table spot. I like trying to freaking break her neck there, but
Yeah,
that was brutal.
that looked like it hurt. That almost was worse than if if she actually went through the table.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, but it was a pretty good match. But I could tell you that a lot of fans are not going to be as fond about it just because of that finish. But for the rest of it, this was really, really good. Just a very, very questionable finish. I would say
I like the finish, not who was there. Because the more I thought about it, more I was like, I did criticize AEW for Bad Bath and Beyond,
which I did too. Like, I just don't think you can debut people cold who the audience does know who they were, because after the fact you had the crowd saying, who are you, are you, like, I mean, it's like one thing when you have like Adam Cole, coming out and beating on someone, when clearly the audience knows who these people are, but when they don't know who those wrestlers are, it just comes off really awkward and just really unnecessary. But as I said, really good match. Then we move on to Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. This was definitely a different style of a match that I was expecting. You can definitely tell Finn is definitely slowing down since he turned heel, which I do think is the absolute right call, because there's a clearly different style from babyface Finn to heel Finn.
Yeah, and in this match, what they did was they didn't go crazy right off the bat.
It was very slow moving. It was very slow moving.
They built.
Yep, and I would say the last 8 to 10 minutes of this were excellent. And it just like they were.
I think the whole match was.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm just saying the last 8 to like 10 was where they really turned it on. And it was just, I was expecting something completely different, but this turned out really well. And to no surprise, and to no surprise, Finn, he won here. I was pretty confident that he was going to win.
Yes.
Just because I don't even think he's even lost a single match. Yeah. Or I could be wrong, but like, he's been booked really strongly since coming back to NXT.
And what I said on the podcast, yesterday's episode, Finn needs to win more than Gargano. Gargano can lose at this point, and it doesn't hurt him.
It's not going to hurt him, but
Finn, if they're building him, as we probably will see down the line to Mania weekend, you need him built up.
Well, and especially too for how poorly for the last 2 years on like Raw and SmackDown, how he's just been just booked on there. It's been an absolute travesty. So basically for the last 2 months, Triple H has done a really good job in building Finn back up. I'm going to be interested to see if they do end up doing Cole versus Finn, because that probably makes a lot of sense right now. Just based off of, we don't really know where that goes, but we shall talk about that soon. But and also too, I also appreciate no one has yet kicked out of fucking Finn's out of Finn's 1916. That I mean, they have really protected that finisher, which I'm very happy to see that. So you have a very good match here. Just a little bit of a different style than I was expecting. Then we move on to the NXT Women's Championship between Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. Solid match here. This did end, I felt, abruptly a bit. I guess I just thought that there would have been a little bit more drama here, but this probably lasted about 15 minutes, give or take.
Yeah,
but
sure.
But I mean, but as we said on the podcast, like this was pretty predictable. Rhea went over, and she should have gone over here, especially once you threw it and Charlotte into everything. Everyone and their freaking mother knew who was going over here. But with that being said, Bianca, she looked really good here. Her athleticism is just I can't really think outside of probably Io Shirai is probably the only other high flyer who just makes everything look so easy. Into Bianca is jacked. Like,
yes, she's built.
Like, she is a physical freak.
She would beat me up.
Yes, and I do wonder if this is the beginning of her going to either Raw or SmackDown. And I posed the question to like Matt, with her being booked, how she was booked, with the Rumble match and with everything leading up to the show. Do they do a Bayley versus a Bianca, or do they possibly add her to this title match at WrestleMania?
I hope not.
If anything, I would like to see her versus Bayley, because that is a pretty first match.
Yeah, I forget who brought this point up on Twitter. Was it Sean Ross Sapp? I don't know.
Yeah.
That
I think it was
that she could be going to Raw, because if you look at if she does get called up, if you will, and moved over, that they've been keeping actual real life couples together on shows, and we're the Street Profits.
Raw. Yeah, and that's a good point too. I did not quite think about that.
But I mean, that's not obviously not set in stone.
No.
And at the same time, I mean, she's in NXT. She's always she's down in Orlando with Street Profits, traveling week to week. I mean, like, fine time to hang out, but that's another possible theory. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, just based off of that, I would expect, and you would think that they're probably still planning on doing what Fightful reported over a month ago, that the plan is to do Bayley versus Sasha. And like I was also surprised to find out today, Matt. Sasha is apparently filming for like season 2 of The Mandalorian, which that should be kind of interesting. But
this is the way.
This is the way. But I'm definitely interested to see what they're going to be doing with Bianca, because it does feel like that it's probably time for her to move on from NXT, because I believe that this is her second or third title match on NXT, and she's lost every single one of them. So I mean, and especially with either Raw or SmackDown, they are desperate. They need some more fresh faces in that in those divisions right now because they're just stale as hell. So I would not be opposed to either one of those. All right, so then, and we also forgot to say as well. Obviously Rhea wins, and then Charlotte comes out. She attacks her and confirms and accepts her challenge for WrestleMania. So NXT is getting a heavy spotlight on WrestleMania this year,
which is big this year,
and I'm sure it has nothing to do with them being on live on Wednesday nights, going up against some like t-shirt company, but that's for a different discussion. All right, so then we move to the co-main event for the NXT Tag Team Championships between the Undisputed Era versus the Broserweights. And before the match even starts, freaking Riddle and like Pete Dunne come out on their on what are they calling it, the like Broser, the Broser mobile or whatever. So Riddle gets on the microphone and he basically asks how many fish has Bobby Fish fried, or
if Bobby Fish could fry fish.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I got tongue tied.
Yep. I wasn't going to even attempt that because I definitely knew that I was definitely going to screw that up there.
Yeah. I think they went to that well a little bit too much in that promo.
Yeah. I mean it was fun on NXT last week, but it did feel a little bit cringy to a certain extent.
If they did it once, okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. But the match itself was tremendous. Exactly what you would expect. Broserweights were really over in this match, and the crowd's reaction when they won was very well done. And you kind of felt with the whole entire build with them winning with the Dusty Cup and just all of the he like skits in the backstage stuff that there was no way that they wouldn't be having these guys go over here. It was the absolute right call. The only problem that I see now is like, and it's been a problem in NXT, we need more tag teams because like outside of the Undisputed Era, because I believe that like 2 or 3 of the teams that were in the Dusty Cup were in NXT UK. So you gotta wonder who are these guys going to exactly feud against?
They'll probably take from NXT UK again.
I mean, I gotta think, just because like like who's out there right now, and that is something that I feel like has been a problem in NXT. It's just like not enough viable tag teams, which I mean it's a slight issue, but it's a very correctable one. They just need to do a little bit of a better job in spotlighting other teams, not just like one or 2 specific tag teams.
For the lack of tag team, they compare it to AEW for lack of tag teams.
Mm-hmm. AEW's tag team division is really deep, and I think that's clearly where they are better than NXT right now.
Where the NXT's women's division is stacked.
Yeah, and that's putting it freaking nicely. But yeah, Broserweights, they win. And we'll see what where things hold for those guys. But a very good tag team championship match. Then we go to the main event between Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT World Title. This was definitely really good. I do have some like nitpicks. I felt to a certain extent a little bit overbooked with the Undisputed Era appearing with the ref bump, but the intensity, the freaking near falls, and the physicality in this thing was a war. Like Ciampa took a freaking ass kicking tonight and just kept on coming, just kept on fighting. Adam Cole threw everything but the kitchen sink at him and could not beat him cleanly. But this comes to an end when Johnny Gargano turns heel and hits Ciampa with the title when the ref was out on the outside, and this eventually leads to the 1-2-3, and Adam Cole still remains the NXT World Champion and thus keeping at least one title within the Undisputed Era. I'm not going to lie. I am not really excited about Gargano and Ciampa again. For me personally, I'm pretty burned out on that feud just because what else can those two possibly do to each other? I mean, the only difference this time, can they? Like, they've been in like what, 4 wars now? But I mean, the only difference is now with Johnny as the heel now. But I wish that they would have done something else. But it's been pretty clear though that Triple H uses this as sort of a feud to really fall back on. It's basically his version of like Shawn Michaels versus Triple H, where they're just going to be feuding forever.
I'm interested to hear why he turned on him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it probably is obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, if you tell this long story, it is kind of poetic justice that
mm-hmm.
Ciampa turned on Gargano
at
a takeover, and this time
it's the
opposite. It's the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see what the story they can tell, because obviously there's backstory. That understatement of the freaking year so far.
I mean, I feel like if there was like more time where they hadn't feuded, because it's only been a full year since our last match, or it was like a year or a year and a half. I just wished that there was more time, because I just don't feel like that a lot of fans are going to be really excited about this just because they have had so many matches already. Hell, it's going to be a freaking war. They're going to beat the crap out of each other, and I'm going to freaking love it. But it's a little bit repetitive at this point. But we'll see how that goes. But
it's gonna be good. It's a good feud.
So what do you think is next for Adam Cole then?
Finn.
That's what I'm thinking. Because I was thinking either Finn or the Velveteen Dream, but Finn just seems to make the most sense on this, unless they do Finn versus Keith Lee, which that could be a possibility. But I
think it's Finn.
But especially too with Finn's involvement with the Undisputed Era, it feels like that's probably worth
Finn and Balor,
mm-hmm.
Ciampa, Gargano. I
Finn
don't know.
and Balor.
Was that what I said?
Yeah, that's what you said. Matt, I know you're tired, buddy, but it's Cole and Balor. It's Cole and Balor.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You know what I meant.
Yes.
Wow. No, I have to keep track of what I'm saying now. Gargano and Ciampa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know what else. Well, we have to see who would be Keith Lee's opponent.
Yeah. And also I think you could also throw a like Keith Lee into there as well, just because he doesn't really have any clear number one contenders now too.
Yeah, but then he's not going to be in that title. No, they'll have something for him.
Well, yeah. We'll probably find out either this week or the following week, but
they'll tell something.
Yeah,
he's not in it.
Mm-hmm. No. Oh, and before we end the stream here, I wanted to bring something up to you, Matt, that I wanted to get your thoughts on. So another report came out from the Wrestling Observer of John Cena's potential WrestleMania opponent, and by God, I hope that this is just a freaking rumor. Supposedly, the plan right now is for John Cena versus Elias. I mean, like, I know you are a very big fan of Elias, but
yes,
that's just so underwhelming to me. Like, especially for a guy like John Cena, whose appearances are going to be very sparse, very limited, because now he's essentially in like Hollywood 24/7 now. So I can think of like honestly 5, 6, or 7 better, more interesting feuds right now than him. Like, I mean, like just like a Velveteen Dream, a Daniel Bryan, a Roman Reigns, Undertaker, the Bray Wyatt. I mean, I don't understand how this makes any sense too. Because on top of that, Elias has been working as a babyface. Oh, and your guess is as good as mine as why they are making this right now.
If it's true, I could see him taking what happened last year into account.
Yeah, I guess, but I really hope that this is not the case. But supposedly Sean Ross Sapp also packed that up as well. So, needless to say, I'm concerned.
If they're doing it, if they do it to get somebody over, because okay, if Cena's a one-off thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. We already saw the Undertaker. That was an overwhelming,
which is fine
thing.
But
Daniel Bryan would be okay.
Yeah,
but
there's actually some past history there too.
There's past history, but what's the end game on that?
Mm-hmm. Well,
we don't need Daniel Bryan to go over.
No. Hell, even and Aleister Black, I think would have been a good one too.
Well,
it's just I feel like that there were some way better options than
I like the Aleister Black, but these are rumors.
Yeah,
like so other stuff can be said just to swerve us, just to put it out there.
Yeah.
So half the stuff I won't believe it until I see it on my TV.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, for sure. Well, that's all I wanted to get on. Were there is there anything else that you wanted to add there, Matt, before
No, not really. I don't know. I gotta actually go to work tomorrow.
Yep.
And I'm tired again.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Happy President's Day.
Yeah. Well, we would like to thank the one guy in the chat now.
Bethany JCP.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah. So and overall, really good takeover. Takeovers are typically pretty damn good. Whenever we see this, but in case you guys just for the future, Matt and I are planning on doing another reaction show for AEW Revolution, which I believe is in 2 weeks,
Yeah, sounds about
something
right.
like that. But we do air weekly podcast every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And with that, Matt, I think we should sign off now.
Mm-hmm. Again, thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the page, comment, all that fun stuff, and we will see you for our another episode, episode 29 of the podcast, this Saturday at 3 p.m. And until then, have a good one.